Hello and welcome to the Scaling Europe show. I'm here with Charles, the CEO of lemlist. Charles, thank you for joining me.
Thanks a lot for having me, Seb. It's good to meet you.
First off, big news. Can you talk a bit about what's just happened?
The news? So we are very excited to announce that we have acquired a company called Claap. So Claap is a French company in the conversation intelligence space. We just joined force after a 2-month process. So that's really exciting.
Amazing. And what was the rationale behind acquiring them?
So different things. So the first part is that we have a very strong overlap in terms of products, meaning that we sell to the same people. We sell to sales team. I think we have the same DNA in terms of company. These guys are very product oriented, and they are a very small team of 7 people. The third rationale is that their product is really awesome, to be honest. We have tried many tools and we've been using Claap for 2 years. And after 2 years of using it and realizing what they were building at only 7 people, I went to them and asked them if they were open to sell. And the last part is that we do think that there is a big synergy because in all the conversation that they record, there is a lot of data and information that can be used for prospection and for sales. And we do believe that lemlist can benefit a lot from this data to improve the quality of the outreach and the prospection. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. It's an amazing story to go from customer to acquire, because then you really get a feel for the product. You can know it inside out and know that it kind of will fit into your stack amazingly. Were there any points where you're like, okay, the product is amazing, but I need to vet the team? And what was that process like of getting to know the team, getting to know that you had that same character?
Yeah. So to be honest, I already knew the team somehow because they're a very small team. And so when we started the product, we chat with them and we saw them over time. We became one of their top 10 customers because what was interesting here is that in the team, in lemlist, many people were using different tools. So as you know, it's kind of shadow IT. So some people use TLDV, Fireflies, Granola, and all these tools. But I started to use Claap after using several others and not being very happy with them. And when I used Claap, I really found that very strong. And so I started to share my meetings and share my notes with Claap. And I saw that more and more people were joining Claap, not being forced to, just seeing that I was using it. And 2 years after, we had 130 people in the company using Claap. And so every time I was asking, people were saying, for instance, the sales team, they were saying wow, Claap is really years ahead, against the other tools we used. And so that came back many times. And I started to think maybe I should be more proactive, and see if we can do something, because it's not every day you see a product that's good and that's still very small. And for me, in a way, under-distributed. So we thought that with the customer base we have and with the audience we have at lemlist, we could use that to grow Claap faster.
Yeah, amazing synergies, especially if you mentioned it being under-distributed. You work with an amazing range of a huge number of clients, right? I mean, I read recently that you've just surpassed 40 million ARR.
Yeah, in total we are 40 million, and we have roughly 20,000 customers on lemlist and maybe 5,000 on Taplio and Tweethunter.
That's absolutely insane. And where has that growth come from?
The growth, so in lemlist, initially the growth came a lot from social, so mostly LinkedIn. So Guillaume, the founder of the company, grew a lot through LinkedIn and doing a lot of good content that he promoted on LinkedIn. So for instance, he did a multi-channel outreach masterclass and he promoted it on LinkedIn. Other people in the company built their LinkedIn profile. So they had maybe 3 to 4 people with over 50,000 followers. So the growth historically came from LinkedIn a lot. And then with time, we started to add new channels, notably when I joined the company. So we worked a lot on, for instance, the big thing we changed was adding the sales motion. So in the past, we didn't have sales. So now we have sales helping buyers. And this is now doing 30% of the growth, of the company. And on top of that, we started to, do other channels such as affiliation. So affiliation is now up to 10%, sometimes 15% of the growth. We have a strong influencer strategy too, where we work with other influencers and partners who can recommend and sometimes even help people be successful with lemlist. So they are like service partners that we work with, and they bring business. We now do a lot of paid marketings too. We even did some SEO. So yeah, we've basically multiplied channels. We have regionalized the product too, to be able to be available in German, in Spanish, and in French. That helps too. So yeah, basically we have just executed on different channels, and this combines, to more growth. And now we are growing by almost 70% this year, while being profitable.
Well, that's an amazing achievement. And you've spoken publicly about wanting to hit 100 million ARR. Do you think that mix of channels and seeing that growth from those mix of channels, is that going to get you to 100 million, or do you see that kind of breakdown changing as you continue to scale?
Yeah, no, I think we are lucky to be in the very big markets. Like the market is said to be around 10 billion and growing to 30 billion in the next 5 to 6 years. So I do think we can reach 100 million ARR and even further, staying with this type of channels. Of course, the execution is always slightly different, but for instance, sales is like now doing 30% of our growth. I think it can be 50%, 60% in the next years as we move up markets, and we are attracting like larger and larger sales team. So every month we sign logos with 50 sales rep, 100 sales reps that we wouldn't think we would be able to equip in the past. But now we're seeing that the product is ready for this type of customer. And so this sales motion and our natural brand and DNA around like high quality content is doing a good synergy, I guess, for acquiring even larger customers. So I do think like we can still rely on them to grow. The only thing that really needs to change is the product, because the vision we have for the product is to basically the end game is as a sales, you log into lemlist every morning, and every morning lemlist gives you 10 leads, which are the best possible leads for you to reach out today. And for each lead, you can decide on which channels you want to reach them, because one of our trends is to be available on all different available possible channels for sales. So we manage email, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, SMS, text message, and calls, of course. So the idea is that every day as a sales, you log into lemlist and you have a proposal of 10, 15 leads that are the best for you today, with a rationale of why you should reach out to these leads today and not yesterday or not tomorrow. And for each of these leads, we will help you with AI to craft the perfect narrative that fits the timing of the leads and why you're reaching out now, and define what the best channel to use depending on all the data we have on each lead.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing proposition. And when you think about the acquisition of Claap and the product that you want to get to, but also the revenue that you want to get to, you're going to be using Claap as almost like lead generation. Like, are you hoping to distribute that and get people using that, and then they'll come on to the rest of your stack? Or is it going to be like an add-on? So like, if you are already one of the customers, we'll add Claap on and we'll bundle it all together. What's the kind of the value proposition of how you're bringing Claap into this?
Yeah, to be honest, both products can be used standalone very, very well, because Claap can be used for a sales team later in the process. So it's not only a product for outbound and cold outreach. So both products can be very well used separately, but I think we can create some value to use them combined. So what we want to do is really to push lemlist user to use Claap, as we do think that having a conversation intelligence tool is a must-have today, and we do believe that Claap is the best that's available on the market. We use it ourselves, so we just want to advise our customer base to use this product, and hopefully they'll like it and they give us feedback so we can still improve it. On the meantime, we have Claap's user who can become lemlist user too, and then we can do joint deals, what we are already doing, because I just learned that we have 2 ongoing deals, like quite large, where they would be interested in the bundle. And then the idea is to create synergies between both products. And I will give you just 2 examples. But for instance, one example is, let's say that you have a call with someone and they tell you, oh, you should call me back in 3 months because today is not the right time. Then it would create a task in lemlist to do the follow-up 3 months later automatically from natural language, from the discussion you had with the prospect. So that's one example. And the other example is, let's say you are on lemlist and you want to outreach, I don't know, you want to reach out to someone at 11 Labs. And so basically you will ask in lemlist, can you tell me, can you summarize all the different discussions we had with 11 Labs and who I should reach out to in order to sell my product? And then thanks to Claap capabilities, we'll be able to search amongst all the conversation that you had with 11 labs, potentially across multiple users, and tell you everything that's important for you to go back to 11 labs. When is the right time with the right person? What should you say? And so you become much better in getting back to an account rather than going just randomly, and calling with absolutely no data, no information.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are amazing use cases. I can definitely see how that the bundle works perfectly, and how it can they can complement each other across the product stack. You mentioned earlier about being bootstrapped and profitable. I think I always love talking to bootstrap profitable businesses because they never get the same limelight or publicity as often like VC backed companies get without the big funding rounds. Being bootstrapped has definitely not hindered the ambitions that you have or lemlist has about scaling to $100 million ARR. You've grown incredibly quickly. I think when I was researching, it says revenue's doubled in the last 18 months. How are you finding balancing, scaling the company as quickly as you possibly can and rapidly growing revenue while also remaining lean, bootstrapped and profitable?
I think, and I will talk for what I know, which is the company was already profitable when I joined and it's already generating profit. But I've been in scale-ups that were burning money. And my belief, which is deep, is that you don't go faster by burning more money. Of course, unless you're huge companies aiming for global markets and you have very fierce competition and time to market that. So of course there are exceptions, but I mean, in our case, I don't see any investment we cannot do because we are not raising money. So we are not refusing any investment. We are the only limitation we have is finding very high quality people. 80% of our cost is people in software. So our number one problem is finding very high quality people that we can integrate. But what happens is that naturally you never find 50 amazing people every month and that you can integrate in the company properly. So what I'm seeing is that actually when you are profitable, it's easier and it's better for the long term to continue to grow at a steady but let's say reasonable pace where you can take the time to really identify top talents, onboard them properly, let them time to have impact, and make sure you keep this very, very high level of talent density. This has really been a priority for us to focus on the talent density, so the quality of the talent. And so the best way I can explain that is really I'm not rejecting any investment that I could do for the companies that would be good to be honest. And we just acquired Claap. We paid it cash. The price is between 15 and 30 million AR in cash. And we were able to do it on our own funds by notably having some kind of debt with a vendor. And to be honest, it's not like I have 10 investments that I want to make and I can't. So as long as it's this way, there is no reason for us to raise money. And I do think that doing that this way, growing the company with a very high level of talent is much better in the long term. And I think you can outbeat people who raise 200, 300 million, even more, just because you take a bit more time. And very often we think that there is no time, but actually there is more than what people think. Because technology is changing fast, but it's not like everyone is replacing every tool every day. So we're seeing that things are shifting slightly less fast than people say it is on LinkedIn,
Yeah, no, that's the best position to be in, right? You're seeing strong revenue growth. You were able to make the investments that you need, and you are still bootstrapped and profitable. I think that, it's an amazing position to be in. I also wanted to, I think you posted on LinkedIn about the roles that you've had in your career. You've had a wide variety of roles. I think you're the first person I've ever spoken to who's been a CEO, a CRO, a COO, and a CFO, which is highly, highly unusual. I wanted to ask you, what's been your least favorite of those roles and why?
This is a tricky question. I will speak for myself. I think now CFO would be the least favorite. I really liked being a CFO, but I think CFO, it's very different from others because you don't really work in the future or in the present. Of course, you can do forecast and planning, but I mean, it's different because you are observer. You are not builder. Of course, you can build your own team, you can build your own process, your own tool stack, but it's not you who ultimately build the company. Of course, you're helping the company to build by accessing capital and making sure that it's healthy, etc. So you have a huge impact on the company, but in a way you are not really impacting the company itself. So that was maybe my biggest frustration being a CFO, and the fact that you have to repeat things every month, every quarter when you close, which is sometimes a bit repetitive. So I think I would say it's the CFO role that was the least favorite.
And your favorite?
I think CEO is awesome, to be honest. Like, I love being a CEO. CEO is awesome because you can hire people who are better than you, and focus on where you're really strong. I do think like CRO was awesome, to be honest. Like, I loved working with sales and customer success people. They are people like connected to the customer every day. So CRO and CEO would be my favorite, I guess.
And you in your role as CRO, you've had a lot of strong opinions about sales and go-to-market, and you've become a bit of a thought leader in that space. I wanted to talk about a lot of the AI tools that we're seeing at the moment, and specifically in sales and go-to-market. There's been a whole bunch of AI SDRs or BDRs and a whole bunch of other tools. Are there certain tools that you think are going to make it through this bubble or this ecosystem that we're in now, and are there tools that you're using on a day-to-day basis at lemlist?
That's what I'm seeing like working is like using AI to manipulate high volume of data. I do think that works very well. And so for me, AI works insanely well when it comes to data management, meaning like prospection data. So for instance, reading peer news to identify intents that can be helpful for sales, or your sales, instead of like going to 5 different websites to prepare a meeting, then AI visits the different website for you and prepare the meeting for you. So you save a lot of time. So these are the use case where I'm seeing a value added right now that already exists, that is proven, and that can be done at the scale of the sales team. Now, what I've not seen working is AI to replace human interaction. So AI is somehow doing that because it claims that you can send, it's mostly through email, or LinkedIn message, so you can generate message for each prospect. For me, it's not really an AI SDR actually. It's just a tool like lemlist doing multi-channel outreach that is AI first, but we do AI too. So it's just another way to position and to try to take market shares in a market where you're nowhere. So basically, there are competition to service providers, people who have agencies, or to software seller like us. So I'd never seen AI really be doing like great results when it comes to replacing humans in sales, just because people like interaction. Where maybe I would be a bit more, I would have a slightly different opinion is that I do think in like inbound buyer journeys, I do think that AI can really help buyers make a decision or like improve their knowledge and their understanding of a product. So maybe tomorrow you will have like a website will be replaced by kind of an avatar, or at least like website will be empowered by kind of an AI avatar that can actually answer questions and help buyers understand the difference, the capability of a tool. Because as tool has like bigger and bigger in terms of capabilities, it's sometimes difficult for a buyer to know what they want, what they need. And so I do think AI can help. But I don't think they will replace fully sales. I think they will just be on either like very small leads where you don't want to have like human spend time, or I think they will be early in the process when buyers are not ready to speak to a human. They want more self-service, I'd say. And here that can help too. So I think on inbound, I think there is something that can develop around AI. I think for outbound, it's more tricky because I do feel outbound is really hard. And if you don't have this kind of like human connections that comes to play, I don't think AI can get it to really build a connection and book like actually good quality meeting. Of course, there will be exception. There will be people who manage, but I'm talking like at scale, generally speaking, it's not what I believe in the most.
Yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense. And yeah, you've built such a brand around being an expert in this space that I think it's a really interesting take that human connection is always going to remain, is always going to be needed for sales to be successful. And look, I'm conscious we're running out of time, but I want to ask one final question, which is what needs to happen to make the Claap acquisition a success?
Yeah, so we're very pragmatical. So we want to reach 10 million in ARR. Currently, they are doing almost 2 million, and we'd like to reach 10 million in less than 2 years. So that would be one part, which is like commercial success, which is what they need because they have product success, but they don't have the commercial success that goes with this product success. And the other part is really like synergies. So that would say like customer overlap. I think like, I don't know, maybe 25% of our large customer that are using both lemlist and Claap would be a strong signal that it makes sense to use both products together, that it creates more value than using two separate products or two products from different sellers. So for me, it's like a lot about creating synergies and making sure that when you use Claap plus lemlist, you get more than 1 + 1. You get 1 + 1 plus the synergies that we're creating.
Got it. Okay. So scale to 10 million and create, the synergies that make sense and lift up the whole tech stack of lemlist.
Exactly.
Amazing. Well, look, Charles, thank you so much. Congrats on the acquisition. It sounds like amazing news, and the business is absolutely crushing it. So yeah, best of luck.
Thanks for having me, and happy to keep in touch. Take care.
Amazing. Thank you.